All right, ladies and gents. Garage project. Whatever the phase this is. I'm not sure what phase it is. All right, last time, if you remember. If you don't remember, go to YouTube, to Pallet Box, YouTube's channel of the Pallet Box. There you go. This channel right here. Okay, go to this channel. What are we? Phase 5? Yeah, I guess we're hitting phase 5 now. Yes, there you go. Thank you, 3D. So you go to this channel and you can check out all the other phases here. There's other phases that I worked on this garage. So here we are. Okay. Let's take a look, shall we? Radius. Oh, thanks so much, Radius, for the 17 months. Appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. I'm just about to get into my garage phase 5 project rundown. Okay, so last time we completely finished the left side of the garage. We did the garage door, we installed this beam, we got the floor painted, we got the walls and the ceiling painted, we got lights up. Okay, 6, yeah, whatever it is. Yes, whatever. I don't know. I see a phase 4 here, so I think it's technically phase 5. Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it is. Anywho, whatever it is, we'll figure it out. But I did all this other side, so now I have to move to the other side of the garage, right? So a couple weeks ago, of course, I got my little PC installed here so I could listen to tunes. I got a really nice sound bar I got for really cheap from a Goodwill. That was pretty cool. Got Wheezy set out here. It's a little custom PC that I built. And we got some Wi-Fi going. 3D was generous to help to donate towards. This little device helps to give me some Wi-Fi. I can at least listen to music. It's still not great out in the garage. It's just aluminum walled house, you know, like sided house and stuff to try to go through. It's a little tough, but anyway, it works. It works well enough. Okay, so the first thing I had to do in this project is take everything that was over here and move it over here. How you doing, Fawn? Welcome in. I haven't been playing it. You guys through some tough times and nice, 3D. Yeah, it's been working great. It does allow me at least listen to music. Yes. So, yeah, don't mind Fawn. Fawn just be bugging. And it's okay. Love Fawn anyways. So, I got everything from here moved over to here, right? That was like the first step. All this crap, boom. It's all a big mess. It's all a big pile of crap. I'm not worrying too much about it. I just had to get it switched over. So that was the first thing. So we got this nice big space to start to work with. So the very first thing I really had to do is I had to address a couple things. First of all, I had to take the lights down over here because I was going to paint. And the next thing I said, you know what? I'm going to put... This was like 2 boards I had to use anyways for the beam. And at least this one board up here. So I was like, I'm going to put... I want to use this as storage, so I think I'm going to create a little ceiling here. Yeah, right, Fawn. I was like, I want to make a little ceiling here, and then that way, I don't know, I just think in the wintertime if I have, because I'm going to set up wood stove here eventually, you know, just be a little corner there with my, this will be like workbench, tools on the wall, that kind of thing. So I just felt like with a little bit of a ceiling, it would just prevent stuff from like falling on my head. And then storage-wise, boards, anything I put back in there would be look a little less cluttered, put it that way. So I went ahead and got some plywood, which is here. And I started to install that. I wanted to install it on this area here. And I wanted to paint. And I wanted to paint the colors. I want to paint this side of the garage the colors of my logo. So, here's how the garage, this side looked. Of course, lights taken down, the wires... there. This is the window that was here, and this is just the type of the floor that it had. This is what we bought the house, this is what it had. Just gravel, dirt, pack. Of course, all the time me working on wood projects and stuff, it's just sort of nasty and cluttered with crap. So the very first thing though, before I even did the ceiling and the paint, is what I want to do with this floor is I want to put a wood floor on top of here, like a not hardwood floor, but like a wood, you know, a wood covered floor. So I have to put like of course, like what you call floor joists across here and everything. But what I needed to do is, my brother, who's he's a contractor. He said you need to two things. He said, first of all, whenever you get to the point to install it, you need to put plastic down. So I'm going to be doing that. He said that keeps the moisture from coming up through the dirt and the floor and rotting your wood out. He said the second thing, though, because he builds a lot of camps, like little cabins and stuff up in the national forest, and he sees these floors rot out all the time. And he said the two problems is they don't have plastic, A, B, they don't have any ventilation for their crawl spaces under their floors. So no ventilation and no plastic dry rots the floors in a very short period of time. Like just a few years, it'll be completely rotted out. It'll just like turn the wood to like a powdery, chalky dust. It's pretty bad. So what I did is I had got these cement blocks, months ago. He was giving away free blocks. I had to dig him out of this hillside. It was a lot of work, but I got them. So this was my idea with them, is I'm just going to set them on their side. It'll be kind of a firm sort of step. The wood floor will sort of probably come across over top of this a little bit, but it would give me some holes here to continue to encourage ventilation under the floorboards, because all my floor joists are going to run this way, right? Come from the corner out, and then the flooring will probably run more this direction. I may do some plywood actually first, and then I may use pallet wood for my flooring, like hardwood. I may get a cheap planer and like plane all the boards, and then literally make like flooring out of it. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, I needed ventilation, so I set these blocks up. I had to dig it out perfectly so that they would set perfectly. It was just a lot of work. Take time to get all that set up, and leveled that. Then I had some thinner blocks because the floor kind of went a bit of an angle. The dirt's a little lower on the one end, and I had about an equal as number of these thinner blocks as I did the thicker blocks. So I was like, why don't we just use these blocks for here? So that's what I did. I had to use a couple other random blocks, but that was like the first big thing I did after I got all the crap moved over from this side. So I got all those blocks set up. It was kind of a nice first step, just so that I'm like, okay, my floor will have this as a boundary, like I said, a step, a nice transition place, and some ventilation. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some wire mesh, probably I might even like wrap the blocks in it, almost like a C shape, over, down, and below, just so that like if there were any little critters or something, they wouldn't like come through these holes. Yeah, sketchy. It takes time to learn. I get it. All right, so then what I had to do is I painted these little marks of where my floor joists would probably go, and these pieces right here were already there. They were probably for someone who put stone in to work on a car, because they probably drove their car in, put down like jacks, and then used these as their jack stand spots. So I'm thinking that's probably what they did. So I left those in there. There's no reason to move those, but I started to bury these blocks at the exact interval so that all of my floor joists could rest on block, which is what you should do. Even though I'll put plastic over top of this, I needed something solid to put the floor joists on, and then something in the center. So I had to bury all those. Once again, I had to level all these. Had to level these in relation to where I want the floor. The floor is going to ride this line like right here. The top of the floor is going to be at this line on the block. Now the nice thing is this building was built pretty well. The blocking was done pretty well, so this is all pretty much leveled out. So I could pretty much figure on this line being my level line. So that's what I did. I left myself just enough space for my floor joists and then my flooring. So yep, and I just had to bury block. Bury, paint all these lines, make sure everything was leveled up, and set up well. Sometimes I use brick. You know, it doesn't really matter as long as I keep the board supported sufficiently every so many feet. So I wasn't getting too technical because I don't have the flooring yet, but I had to start here. Easily last 30 plus years. Really? Okay. All right. Nice. Enter camp. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, there it is, a little bit closer to being done. Pretty much done at this point. I did set some lines here. I had to. It just took several days to kind of just, well, a couple 3 days to just line up all the blocks and you know, having some string and just make sure everything was relatively leveled. It still even needs a tiny bit of work, but it was getting there. All right, so I got the floor done, and I was like, okay, what did I do the floor? I have the pictures a little bit out of order. Well, at any rate, I must have done the floor after I did the pan. I didn't realize I did that. I thought I did the floor first. No, anyway. Then I installed the ceiling. At whatever point I did it, I must have did it first. I installed this ceiling. I just put some plywood up here, and then I started painting the green on my logo, right? This, like right above my head, this green right here, that's this green. Yes, very green. Yes, very green. I love it. It made me so happy. It's like Grinch green. And I was painting it, it just would make me laugh. I would just look at it like, this is so awesome. Once again, all of the colors in my logo, in this logo right above my head here, that all of those colors will be represented on this side of the building. It's hard to describe, but I'll be putting like tool boards up, you know, like boards on these walls to put hook tools to, and then benches, and I'm just gonna make sure all those colors are represented. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. But the ceiling first is great. Now this is even from a perspective, I hadn't got all the green painted yet. My daughter helped me a ton. My oldest daughter helped me a lot. She actually painted. I did pretty much this section. It was pretty easy. And she took a lot of time to paint the other section. Rosie, welcome in. I'm not gonna play a video only because I'm in the middle of doing my thing. But welcome in, Rosie. Thanks so much. I think you get it. Welcome in. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you guys doing well. Welcome into my garage project phase 5 overview. The garage is now named as Gary, so we're working on Gary here. Talking about Gary work. Welcome in, Audie. Hope you're doing well. How you doing? No video needed. Okay. Has phases. New MCU. Yeah, kind of. Gary, my boy. Yes, Gary. Gary from 4E. That's another whole thing. Anyway, so finally I got to paint the ceiling. You like my green ceiling? Yeah, I got the whole ceiling painted green, and I installed. Oh, thank you, Rosie. Thank you so much. Still no video needed. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, so I installed some plywood along this area because my plan is to, in the future, when I need to, let me go back here, I want to be able to put up like a canvas, like curtain type thing, to be able to separate this side of the garage from this side if I want to use this side as like a paint booth. You needed emotes. Okay. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you. I hope, once again, I do hope your stream was good. I hope you guys had a good time. I'm sure it was great. Rosie is a very good streamer, and you need to definitely go follow her if you haven't already. Just FYI. Please do. Yes, please do. Do not be sorry. She's nice people. Any rate, so I was just showing them that I got the floor all kind of leveled out, and the post the things down for my flooring, and then I was painting the ceiling, adding these boards here for the ceiling, so I have some storage up here. I want to put like boards and any other, like, you know, just have some lumber sort of handy up here, right? When I want to do projects, I can just reach up and grab it. Yes, it's right. Best cozy streams. That's right. Stream is very good. Very good. Yes, Audie. That's cool. I don't think I knew that. That's awesome. Cool. Well, she good people. So anyway, I put these plywoods up here. Once again, I wanted to separate everything so I can keep the dust from going over to the other side. And I can just kind of keep this area separate if I want it. Like I said, do painting or anything else as it like be working on my vehicle. So I want to use this side as a paint booth, basically. Okay, Audie, nice, nice, cool. All right, so there's more of the green. I painted the all, like I said, all the ceiling green, and pretty much. And then what I'm going to do with the garage door, when I do this garage door, like I did the other garage door, you know, I'll do like a full restore on the garage door. I am going to use this main portion of the garage door will sort of be like the darker brown on this logo right here above my head. So it'll be like the darker brown, right? And then the insides will be the lighter brown. And then the edging right here, this edge is going to be the dark green. That's like the edging of the pallet box. So each of these will kind of look like a little pallet box. Yes, very interesting contrast. Yep, and I bought flat black paint because this is a flat paint. So all my garage door will be flat. So I bought flat black spray cans for each of these black bits too. So yeah, it'll look really cool. Very fancy indeed. Yeah, I'm very excited for it, so I think it'll be great. Very excited. Yeesh. Okay, so that's that. There's all the green, lots of green. Once again, Pallet Daughter helped me a ton. She sat up on a ladder and just painted and painted. It took hours and hours and hours. And this was we hit the perfect window. It was like 50, 60 degrees for 2, 3, or 4 days there. It was just so perfect. It got it done just at the right time. And then, of course, I got my lights set back up. And so, yeah, they're looking good. And FYI, don't use your nice Stanley measuring tape as a guide when you're digging on the ground. Okay, don't do that. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very bad thing because what happens is sometimes you accidentally go to use your shovel as you're trying to dig because you're digging on the ground, and then yeah, that happens. Oh no, they normally don't if you don't hack them with a shovel. That's what I said. Don't put it on the ground and use it as a guide for where you're shoveling. It's a very bad idea. I was trying to use it as like a straight edge. I was like, okay, if I make sure I stay within this line, and then whack. Pallet Wife came to the rescue, bought me a new one. That was very nice. Yeah, thank you, Pallet Wife. Yeah, hack that in two. All right, so I got the ceiling painted. I got the floor sort of set up, and now about somewhere in this process, and that was about the first week. That took me about a week to get all the painting and all that stuff done. And I thought, all right, what am I gonna do this week? And I started thinking about what do I need to do next in order to make sure I can install this floor correctly and everything. And then I got to thinking about the wood stove that I want to put in. And I thought, you know, it's gonna be getting cold. Why don't I go ahead and because I have to prep. I gotta prep the area that I want to put the wood stove in anyways, and if I put the floor in, and I don't know how big that is, that could get complicated, right? So I was like, I really need to get the wood stove area taken care of before I move on. Shovel hacking is covered in the warranty. Yeah, I doubt it. I didn't try. Your boss damaged a blade for a paper cutter by leaving a stainless steel reel on the cutting saw. Oh no, ouch. $30,000 cutter. Say some really fun things. I'm sure, Roddy. I think you mean brick pizza oven, right? Yeah, right, Radius. That's not in here. That's for outside. Maybe eventually, Radius, yes. That's right, 3D. If I put the stove in, I can work on it all winter. That's right. With the cooking streams. You know, someday maybe. Sketchy. Someday. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. The wood stove that I wanted to put in, I wanted to get one with burners so I could cook stuff out here. I think that'd be fun. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. We'll see. We might be able to. You know, way down the road, in the future, next 5 years, I would love to have an outdoor, like a whole garden on my side yard that I could have a a brick oven and a nice grill and like all out of brick and stuff. That'd be really cool. Oh no, remind you of the lessons? Oh no, Audie. So this is when I started. I thought, well, I'm gonna take the brick, and I was like, I'll make a little line, and then I'll put stones in here because I had quite a bit of stone. And I put the brick around, and I thought I was gonna use the brick as part of the base. And that was my first idea. And then after a while, I used them as kind of a, I knew I had to build the ground up anyways, and I had them around there, and I started trying to place stones. Now I had this whole like time-lapse video, and my battery ran out or something. Oh no, I was working on it a bunch, and then it didn't work out. Like I didn't get very far, and then I was like, I was gonna do it again, then I ran out of space on my camera, and I was working hard, and I didn't want to take the time to go in and deal with the camera and the space on the memory card. So I just like, all right, forget it. The time lapse wasn't that interesting. This is generally kind of how it went anyway. So test it. Oh no, it doesn't work on Thanksgiving. Oh dude, that's awful. Ugh. Sorry, Audie. That sounds painful. All right, so I finally got all the stones set up where I wanted them, and then I mixed up my mortar. Bad day to learn. Yeah, it is. That is nice that you have a good neighbor. That's very good. So yep, I got all the stones set up, and then I mixed up my mortar, and then boom. I don't have a good video or anything of me putting it in. It was really just going. It was actually, I had a video where I was gonna have my daughter show me doing that, and that, like I said, that's where the camera got all locked up. Oh, thank you. I thought it turned out pretty well. It's the first time I've ever really worked with stone. It's not super even, but I did try to level out each corner. I tried to make the stones as level as I could, but then a bunch of these smaller inner stones, they're not super even or flat either. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to generally make the whole thing level, generally level. And then when I get the wood stove, because I don't know exactly the dimensions, I know this is going to cover most wood stoves that I've seen, the dimensions of most wood stoves. But I was like, you know what? I'm probably just going to have to level the wood stove anyways with something else, whether it's pieces of metal or whatever, or brick or whatever I do. So I was like, screw it. I'm just going to make a hearth. The only thing this needs to do is provide a surface that doesn't catch on fire. That's all it really needs to do. So I was like, and make sure it kind of is relatively, level to my floor. And beyond that, I don't care. So that's what I did. It wasn't super complicated. This is when the mortar was still quite fresh and, a little bit more gray. It lightens up as it dries. Then the next, I don't know what it was, the next couple, 3 days when I started working on the window that's above this, I took out the window that's above here, and I had some extra cement, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to pour a cement ring around this so it holds all the stones. All you need. That's right. Yeah, I was just trying to do what I needed, not, drive myself insane, because that kind of project could have really eaten up a lot of time that would have been absolutely unnecessary, because I don't know anyway. So I poured the cement around there, and this is just a nice berm. It's a couple 3 inches thick in most places, and it's just going to provide a nice solid, like stable foundation to keep the stones from like kicking out. So that's all I really needed. So I did that. And then we started working on the window, because my plan has been all along to put a wood stove here in this area. And then of course the vent pipe goes up, and then I was like, hey, there's a window right here. Why don't I just knock the window out and then do something here so that the vent pipe can go out. The flooring, the flooring will go generally over the concrete. That's right. The top of the floor is this line right here, which is a good couple 3 inches above the top of the concrete. So the floor, well, I'll probably cut the boards. I'm still not sure yet. I could do one of two things. I thought about taking the flooring and put some extra metal, like wrapping some tin over the boards, just to depending on how big the wood stove is, because you know you get sparks that kick out. I don't want to expose the wood too much, though it's not gonna like super dangerous. I just don't, I don't want to. I don't want to burn the place down, but at the same time, just to keep it from getting scarred up, I might put some extra metal flashing. But I thought about just butting the wood and like cutting it literally the exact shape. I thought about that too. I even put some like mortar in between there, but I'm just not sure. I may just do a straight line and then maybe put some stone. I don't know. I could do anything. Oh yeah, audio. I've done all the education on the code. Yeah, there's an international code book that my locale uses, and yeah, I try to do all that. Yep. The big thing is just flammable. It gets really complex when you put ventilation out a flammable wall. But yeah, you gotta have 2 feet above your wood stove to the first 90-degree bend, at least 24 inches, but you have that and more. And then you get a triple wall pipe. Yeah, there's a bunch of codes. Yeah. But through the roof, yeah, yep. Yeah, as far as I know, my code allows me to vent it, with a 90-degree elbow out the window. So, yeah, it took me too much work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So, as far as I know, I'm good to go. But, yeah, anyway, so we got that done, and then time to work on the window. So, at first, what I did is I was like, all right, I got a bunch of these bricks, and I started looking at the amount of bricks that I had, and they're all random, and they're all random sizes, and I was like, I don't have enough brick. So I checked with multiple people on Facebook. They were giving away free bricks or whatever, and man, I took so much time to try to, procure some brick, and I could not, for the life of me, find anybody. They wouldn't respond. They still have not responded to my messages. Like 4, 5, 6 people giving away brick. And then everyone else that's selling brick typically most of them wanted $1 or more per brick. Some of them wanted as low as 50 cents, but then they weren't clean. Some of them weren't that clean, that good looking. So I got looking at it, and I could go to Home Depot or Lowe's and get bricks for roughly like 80 some cents a piece. I was like, well, I'm just going to do that. Now, I didn't know much about brick, and I am so glad I ended up doing that, because the brick that I bought was way easier to work with, way easier, and I'll show you that in a second. So one of the things I did to this window, if you notice here, there's a bit of some cracks. Now, we talked about my other side of my garage, actually both other sides, the 2 other sides of the garage. That's how if you want to see what I did, Garage Phase 1 video on YouTube goes back, and I talk about how I had to fix the wall, put a ditch in. So much work went into like reinforcing the wall, make sure it wasn't going to fall in, because I had the upper bank like pushing on the wall. The back side of the garage, I don't know if it was Phase 2 or 3, I rebuilt the window, had to put a beam in, had to pour some cement in the walls and reinforce that wall. So this wall didn't have as many problems. It didn't look as bad. It's not put under pressure by anything. It doesn't have a bank next to it putting it under pressure. This is all open to the outside. But it did have a little bit of a cracking. The wall's nice and straight. It seems pretty level, but it did have a little bit of a crack. So I thought, okay, there's like a couple, like, a little bit of separation in some of the brick here. So I thought, because the other parts of the walls had shifted over time, that it probably took a little bit of some pressure. So I was like, all right. I ended up taking, I think it's this column and this column here that I used rebar, 3/8 rebar. I put a big section, like a 4-foot section, down here and down here. It goes, the 4 feet wouldn't go quite to the base because this is several feet down. This driveway next to my house is a little bit, well, it's quite a bit lower. It's probably another 3 or 4 feet below the actual window, and the actual window is, what is that? I don't know, 4 or 5 feet up anyways. So this is a pretty long wall. So I poured some cement, then dropped the rebar down. So the rebar is almost up to here, 4-foot rebar. So I poured a whole row, 2 whole columns, actually even part of a 3rd column with cement. And then I did put some old mortar that was actually kind of crappy mortar. I poured it in here just so I didn't have to use as much mortar when I was putting the brick down. So anyway, that was why there's a bunch of other mortar here, but that's 2 columns are very, very solid. So I felt like I reinforced the wall much better than what it was. So I feel better about that. So then here is the hard part. I was like, okay, I'm going to brick this window in as a vent. So it's non-combustible. It's not going to catch on fire. You know, I could have tried to put a wooden frame in, and then once again, you get into all the regulations. And I just, for my own peace of mind, I just wanted a nice brick through the wall vent hole that I don't have to worry about. So I started to work with some dimensions. I drew on this piece of plywood, and I built this form because I wanted to make a circle, right? I wanted to brick in a circle. So I went through a bunch of stuff, tried to figure it out, and it was very challenging. But this is what I came up with. Once again, it's about a 14-inch hole because most triple wall pipe that I'm going to use is anywhere from 10 to 12 inches. And I wasn't sure because I might be getting some triple wall pipe and a wood stove off of my brother. Calculus for the curves. Yeah, I found a video that had like mathematical equations, and I was like, screw that. I'm just gonna fly by the seat of my pants, and I'm gonna stick bricks here, and I'm gonna mark lines, and if it looks like it works, I'm gonna roll with that. Man, to try to take the numbers and figure it out, I hate it. Oh, you're fine, Audie. Have a good one. Yep. Thanks for hanging out. Good to see you. Yes, that's right. So nail, string, and pencil. Yes, so that's pretty much what I did. I stuck a screw down the middle, took a string, drew all these sort of mapped out with the string and with the pieces of brick that I had. I was like, okay, I think I need X amount of bricks for this circle. You'd use pie in real life? Yeah, I know, right? And that's exactly when I went to that one video the guy was talking about. He used pi in his calculation. Who would have thunk it? So it was just like, nah, man, I'm going to figure this out. I'll get it. And so I did. I drew it on there. I mean, I took ideas that he shared. I didn't use the calculation. So you use some peanut butter pie on Thanksgiving. That's awesome. Green, love it. Hey, Hot Wheels, thank you so much, dude. Appreciate that. Hope you're doing great. All right, so we're getting done. Once again, there's that. Okay, so I finally got my load of bricks in. I cut a bunch of bricks in half. Now, cutting bricks is very interesting. I think I ended up buying like 50 bricks, which was a few more than what I needed, but it's a good amount. I knocked the window out. Here's me just kind of getting everything set up. There was so many bees nests in here. It was crazy. You had a bunch of pies too, That's awesome. That's funny. Yeah, so the bricks were roughly 7.5. So what I would do is I did end up buying, here was the lifesaver. I bought a diamond cutting blade for my angle grinder. And that right there was the ticket. Now, it was a lot harder to try to cut like long ways. So I didn't try to cut long ways very much. Like I didn't try to make like, because I could have done wedged bricks and make like wedges, and both sides would have been cut, or at least one side would have been cut. But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. You find specialty tools. Yeah, I did. I was like, this blade could be used for other projects, and I just didn't want to get into trying to like doing a wet saw, or like I have a cutoff saw, but like a diamond blade for that, and I was like, oh, I don't know. So I was like, I think I can get by with just the angle grinder, and I was like, I think I can design the wall in such a way where I don't have to make, you know, crazy cuts. So what I would do is I would scar the bricks with the angle grinder. I would cut just a little divot, and then I would tap it with this tool, and you just keep flipping the brick over, and you tap it on its side. Eventually, it splits in half, and it's really nice. Oh, thanks, Hot Wheels. Well, I find it, I count that a great honor, dude. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I hope you're doing well. We're going over the garage project, so pardon me while I continue through this, but this is what I did. Just tap, 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 and flipped it over. Tap, tap, tap. Once I had the little scarring there, and this is how I pretty much split most of the bricks. Otherwise, I found out later that I could make pretty much any cut with that diamond blade. I kind of thought the diamond blade, I kind of thought it would not cut as well, but to be quite honest, it cut just fine. It cut really well. And I could make crazy angles. I could cut just about anything I wanted to cut. So I did pre-cut a bunch of these so I'd have them for the circle. And this is what I did. This is how I started doing it. As you can see then with the angle grinder, so what I did is I attached this board. See, when somebody had put the window in, they had mortared in a couple boards here into the wall. So I was able to attach this board with this screw, and then I attached this cross board, and then I made this board on a single screw so I could spin that around. So it's kind of like a string, but it was a little less, in the way. It was still sort of in the way, but at least it would balance out. You could get into overhead the metal disc holding diamonds. You know what? And that was what I was so grateful for. Those bricks that I got, they were probably kind of cheap and really light. So they probably aren't as high quality, but it meant that they cut up really, really easily. I never had a problem. With cutting and it feeling like it bogged down and wouldn't cut. Oh, Hot Wheels, well, don't worry about that. Just come in another day. We'll serenade you on another day. I know it's not the same day, but I don't know. Yeah, I get it. You'll just have to remind me though, dude. Just have to remind me. Yeah, these particular brick cut very, very well. I was actually very surprised, and I never felt like the blade bogged down. Never had any trouble. It zipped through it like butter. Literally probably 99% of the time, it was like no issues. Once in a great while, maybe just the angle I was holding it at, it would kind of like kick out a little bit, but I think that was just me, you know. It was very surprising. Yay, one light. So this is the weird part though. When I did this circle, and a lot of people, they cut the brick both ways to make like a wedge shape so that each of the mortar joints are even all the way around. So the mortar joints are squared, but I was like, that's just too much for me. So I would just cut these in the shape that I wanted to get a somewhat circular pattern, and then I just filled it in with mortar. Now, filling it in with mortar took a lot extra mortar, and that was a challenge. That was probably the most challenging part. Well, there probably are some pre-molded bricks that way as well, yes. But I know a lot of, when I looked it up online, I noticed a lot of bricklayers cut their own bricks too. Cool, Hot Wheels, put it in. It might take me a couple seconds to get to it, but yeah, by all means. I'll be finishing up with this here in just a little bit. So it's very cool. I want to hear it. So I kept laying kind of both ways. I would lay a little bit at the top here, and then I would, add a few more at the side. This felt very stressful. After I got done with it, I realized I didn't need to stress about the process half as much as I did. But I did stress a lot about it because I wanted it to look good. But I realized mortar, you know, it's very forgiving. You can, yeah, it's very forgiving. You can add mortar in, you can take it away, you can chip it out of there, you know, like scrape it out of there. It's not set and dry for at least a couple, 3 days. Really dried out until probably a good 24 hours or more. So, you know, I could work with it. And that's what I ended up doing. I ended up completing it, and then I went in with a tool. Here's the crazy part. I bought a bunch of these tools off this old guy who was moving, and he was just getting rid of a lot of old stuff, and he had been a bricklayer. He had all these bricklaying tools, every single one of them that you'd need. He had that, like, what looks like a chisel that I split the brick with. You know, just every tool you could imagine. All the trowels, everything. And I've gotten so much use out of those tools now. It's crazy. But he had the little tool that's like a rounded. It's kind of like a handle with like this long straight piece that has a rounded beveled edge, where you work in between each of these. And I just went in between each of these bricks and just shaved away. Like, you'd flip over the tool, you could kind of shave away the mortar, and then just keep working the edges out so the block kind of stuck out. You could see it. But I guess on the outside, it's even more important for the water. You want to have the mortar kind of go in at like a concave, I think is the name for it, so that the water doesn't stay in there. You don't want it to be just like straight. So I tried my best on the outside to do that, but this is the inside. Of course, it's not going to get rain running down it, hopefully. So I was able to kind of work with it. But if you notice, it's like you get up close to it, it's not perfect. You can't really see it in the pictures. It's not absolutely perfect, but to be quite honest, like even the angles, they got a little funky at the top, because when they were down here, I could kind of run the stick around to see the exact angle I needed. It got a little harder to do that at the top because I'd already laid in the circle. So I had all these bricks up here, but then there wasn't any bricks up here, and I couldn't really do that. So these angles got a little funky, but I think overall it looks really cool. And what I was really proud of is the fact that I was able, at first I didn't think I was going to be able to get this brick to go in. Like, I thought these bricks are going to kind of end up being like overlapped, where there wouldn't be hardly any space. So I did have to shave a tiny bit off this brick on either side, which you'd never know. But I ground off the brick like right there and right there, just a little bit at an angle to fit that guy in there. But it fits in really nice. And they say if you want to have good support, you really do need like a keystone, or it's not a keystone, but whatever that middle part to an arch is, it makes it a lot stronger. So it's just very cool. I was able to tack in all of my mortar here, here, here to make a nice ledge. It was a lot of work, but we got it. It is a keystone? It is? Okay. All right. I knew there was other types of keystones and other parts of the building, but I didn't know if that was what it was considered. So, okay, good. Well, that's what it was. So I was very proud of this design because I was able to put a longer brick on the top and the bottom. I was going to try to put one on the side, but it just didn't line up. My drawing lined up, but this didn't line up. So I was like, screw it. I was like, I got these to work. I'm good. Excuse me. I'll be able to get to that in just a second. So this is where it was after, you know, a little bit of drying and then scraping it out. And of course it gets, you know, gets white and chalky after time, but I think it looks kind of cool. And there it is. I ended up washing this off with some soap and water because it had been pretty dirty. So I got that all washed off. It looks a little chalkier, a little whiter, you know, because of when it dries out, but it still looks pretty cool. And if I want to give it a glossy look, I could put some like glaze or something on it, but I'm pretty proud of that. And there we are. Floor is all done. Everything's all set up. This is where I'm at. I'm ready to go for the next phase, which should be the floor. I may do some sort of like, I don't know yet. I was thinking about doing some sort of like dono goal or something for the floor, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that yet. But I know what I need I'm gonna use I am gonna use treated lumber, but I'll figure it out. I gotta get the plastic. I'd like to get the wood stove in there so I could work in the warm. So you approve it? Nice, always. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but we got it. We got it. And I think, where are we at here? I just took a bunch of pictures kind of the final product. There's the door. I had red dust on everything. This is after me cleaning a little bit. I didn't clean this door off, but this is what my garage door looks like. I gotta get, that's like the next phase. I gotta redo this garage door, paint it, all that stuff. Of course, you can see a little bit of red dust on just about everything because that was dusty. I did wear breathing protection the whole time, so my lungs are good. And yeah, there we are. There's all my crap I need to fix. I gotta, like, there's a big portion of some of this stuff that's just gonna probably be thrown away. I might use the top of this, but I gotta rebuild this if I do. This is a big drawer. I'm not sure what I'm gonna use, but the next phase is just, it's gonna include me. Yeah, see how dusty Wheezy is now? Poor Wheezy got a bunch of brick dust in him, but we'll figure it out. So then the next phase, let me go back here. The next phase will be me putting the floor in and then building out my workbench area, which workbench will go right here. Tool wall will be probably this whole big wall. So I'll have to put my bench vise, all that stuff, all the tools, anything I want to have handy will all go on these like 2 walls here. And then let's see if I have a good, I guess over here. Then on this side next to the door, this will probably be, and in the middle is where I'll park like my table saw, any of the saws and equipment, bigger like table equipment where I want to move around. If I want to do a big table cut, you know, a big table saw cut, I'll pull the table saw out, you know, maybe have it on wheels or something. Be able to do longer cuts with sawhorses, set up, depending on my project, and then I can scooch it out of the way and have some space to move around. So, yes, Wheezy's gonna be Wheezy with how much dust he got him. Yeah, that's right. You said it the same time I did, Rosie. It's awesome. Yep. So there we are, ladies and gents. Garage project phase, whatever. There we are. We are ready. We are ready for the next phase. So pretty excited. Very excited. There we are.